Hello, everyone. This is Doc Hatfield, Preacher Man Piper. This is McBaron 7 Seas Regular Tobacco, and I'm smoking it in a Calabrese pipe that I got from Gatlin Burlier in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, my favorite pipe shop. They take pity on this old man when I go up there. They either take pity on me because I'm so old or because I'm so ugly. I don't know which one, or it might be both. They haven't told me. And if any of them watch this, I might get told next time I'm up there. Well, I wanted to tell you about the time I lived in Ohio, up by Dayton, Ohio. Lived in a lived out in the country, but a mailing address was New Carlisle, Ohio. My wife was a registered nurse, and she worked in Dayton. And I believe at this time she was working the second shift, so she didn't get home till close to midnight, maybe a little bit after. Well, this one particular time that she was at work, I don't know when it was. I don't know how I got up there. I don't know nothing. But I was upstairs because we had a two-story house. I was upstairs, and somehow or another I tripped, and the way that it come out was that I tripped, I fell down the stairs, put my head through the wall at the bottom of the stairs. And I must have gotten up and walked in to the living room, and I must have fell and hit my head on the side of the edge corner of the keyboard that I played. My wife came home and found me in the floor. Well, she got me up, and it didn't take long for her to realize that something was definitely wrong. Well, the next day, I guess, or the day after that, I don't know when it was, but she took me to a doctor and found out that I had amnesia. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know nothing. And from what I understand is that when we got back to the house, I asked her if we were married, and she said yes. I said, well, I saw a picture of us in that over there, and I just wondered if that meant we were married. She said yes. This was close to Christmas time. I think that's what it was, Christmas time. And we were going to a Christmas party with a bunch of church friends, I think, a bunch of people. Everybody knew me. And she told them ahead of time. She said, now I'm going to tell you what happened. And she told them and said, now he don't know nobody. Well, they found out real quick I didn't know him. She said, we went in there and said I acted like I was a total stranger. I didn't know a soul in the world. Well, the doctors didn't know whether that would be just a thing for a week or two, or it might go on further. They didn't know for sure. But after about 3 weeks, the phone rang one day, and she said it was the pastor of the church. And he had called because he didn't know about this. The church itself didn't know about this. He had called and asked if I was going to still preach on Sunday morning. And she said, well, I don't know if he can preach or not. She said, she said, I said to her, oh yeah, I can. I had told her that I would do this, and so then she took me in and sat me down at the piano, and she said, play me something. Well, I couldn't play nothing. I didn't know one note from another note, one key from another key. I didn't know nothing. I mean, it was just gone. And that scared her to death. Well, she took me to church on Sunday. And when it come time for me to preach, he introduced me, and I'm just sitting there. And my wife punched me. She said, hey, you're supposed to go up there and preach. Now, I'm just telling you what she told me. She said, I went up there, and she said, I bowed my head. She said, I must have prayed so nobody could hear me. And she said, I raised my head, opened my eyes, and said, I preached like I had for 20 years. And at the end of the message, when I closed the service, she come up there and got me because I just stood there like a knot on a log. And so for the next year and a half, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything. Before that I had that fall, I knew fluent Greek. I could read Greek, I could write Greek, I could speak it fluently. But since that fall, I can't remember none of it. That's one thing that never did come back. But the one thing that did happen, even after I started getting memory back, I began to remember things, but I couldn't put a time to it. I mean, I could remember something, and it could have happened 40 years ago, or it could have happened just a couple of years ago. I didn't know. I didn't have no way of putting time on whatever it was that it was coming to my memory. Well, it come to find out, ever since then, I've always had a problem. Well, I mean, I've had a bunch of problems. We're just talking about on this memory part. I've always had a problem of sometimes just zoning out. I could be just sitting somewhere and zone out and not have any idea where I'm at, what I'm doing, nothing. I have, there was a time whenever I worked over in another town from here, about 18 miles, and I got off work and I headed for home, and I must have zoned out. I ended up calling my wife. We had finally figured out to put her name at the top of the list in my phone so I could call that one number. And so I called it, she answered it, and I said, "Who are you?" She told me who she was. She said, "Where are you at?" I said, "I don't know." And she said, "Well, what do you see?" I said, "Well, there's a lake over to the right." And then I named a street or two, and so she asked some nurses there if they knew anything about that. And this one nurse said, "Oh yeah," I said, "I live right out by there." And she said, "Well, how can I tell him to get home?" And so they told her, and so she told me what to do and where to go to get home. And so I said, "Okay." So when I was about halfway to Maryville, where I live, or to Maryville, the town that I was going to go into, it come to me where I was at, and I was fine after that. And that hadn't happened to me for a good long while, and so we don't know what brought that on. But anyway, don't make no difference. But I hope everybody's doing fine, and I pray that everybody's being taken care of. I hope that everybody's healthy, and I hope everything goes good for everyone. And I'm going to wish you all a very, very, very happy Thanksgiving. This is the time to show our thanks for all the blessings God's given us, and for all that our people who have served in the armed services and what they've done for us. So anyway, don't overeat on the turkey and the dressing and all the other good stuff. Don't overeat. Be like me. Well, no, because I kind of overeat. Y'all take care, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.